Welcome to the Happy Lawyer Project. I'm your host, Akoma Moronu, and I created this show to help lawyers find happiness in life with a law degree. Together with my guest, we provide the knowledge, insight, skills, inspiration, and encouragement you need to find your happy. So one of the things that I've really come to believe is that a key indicator of how successful somebody is going to be in their career and life hinges on the quality of the advice that they're getting and the quality of guidance that they're getting. And a foundational part of that is building the right mentor-mentee relationships. I know we hear a lot about mentoring and people kind of blow it off, but I think there's so much more to it. And so today I have on Samantha Bowen. She's actually a healthcare professional down in Australia. But one of the things that she really specializes in is helping people in her industry develop good mentor-mentee relationships. So I wanted to chat with her about what to look for in a relationship, how to find the right relationship, how to nurture that relationship, and really all of the tips you need to make the most of the mentors in your life. Enjoy! Welcome to the Happy Lawyer Project, Samantha. I am so happy you could join me today.
Thank you so much for inviting me along. It's great to be here and help your listeners.
So it would be so great if you could just start by sharing a little bit about what you do over at the Acorn network.
Certainly. So I have two businesses. One is the Acorn network, which it's very niched and looking at emerging leaders in the healthcare space, ensuring they are heard by their superiors, they get the experiences they need to move up the career ladder, and connect them with passionate, like-minded peers. And the other business I have is very similar, except it's for all professionals. So making sure that we're able to explore lawyers, architects, and managers around what they do in their careers, how we can hook them up with mentors, and how they can really nurture and engage those mentor relationships to get the best out of them.
So I would love to talk more about that. On a recent episode that we had, Jamie Lieberman, she emphasized the importance of aligning yourself with good mentors and how that's so important in your legal career. And I know, as you've just said, that you're somebody who believes in mentoring and who herself has a number of mentors. How did you come to believe that mentors would be an important part of your personal and professional growth?
Oh, it's so good that you're talking about this. I have over 7 mentors that I count, and I call them my little arsenal of mentors that I have. And I didn't really realize how important mentors were in your career until maybe 2 years ago. I grew up and I didn't really have any strong connections with adults or my superiors. And then when I started exploring different career paths and sort of just started reaching out to people who were CEOs and just making cold calls or doing leadership programs, that's when I really saw how amazing mentors are to help you align your goals, reach out to other people, and really just build up your confidence.
So this made me think of something that I recently heard, and that is that women don't do as well with mentors who are too far ahead of them as men do. And the argument in this article was that because of how much the workspace has changed for women, it may be harder to talk to somebody who's, 20, 30 years ahead of you because their experience would be so different. So I was just wondering what you thought of that, and also how far ahead of you in their career should your mentor be?
I reckon it all depends on your goals. So finding a mentor, you really need to be intentional about why you want one. You can't just go around saying, everyone's telling me to find a mentor, so that's sort of what I should be doing, so let's actually just sort of put it out there that I want a mentor. That sort of approach is totally the wrong way to do it. If you're going to be looking for mentors, you need to be looking internally about what it is that you want them for. Is it for improved well-being in your personal life? Is it for well-being in your workplace? Do you want to excel into a CEO position? Or do you want to just move up gradually in the ladder and make sure that you're getting the right opportunities for that next promotional position that comes along. So if you're going to be looking at someone who's 3 levels above you, you need to be making sure that they're aligning with your own personal goals. And I think what you're talking about is if someone's that high up and you're not aligning with them, then I don't know. Does that make sense? Does that answer your question?
No, it does answer my question. I think what I'm understanding you to say is that you can't just write off the whole idea of mentors, but it's really about being intentional as to how that person's own trajectory may align with your own goals. And I love that you brought up lifestyle and like wellness, because I have I have a life mentor and I never really thought about it that way, but it was kind of a more organic relationship with somebody who was, 3 years my senior at my firm, but it wasn't really her professional accomplishments that attracted me to the relationship. It was her personal accomplishments in light of all she was doing in her professional life.
Yep.
And I just liked how balanced her life seemed to be. And it's so funny because our kids are almost a year apart. So it really was like every time she would do something, and people would joke that when she would do something, they'd be like, I guess in a year, Acoma's going to do it.
I love that. I mean, my mentors, I have some who are high up in government in Australia. I have some who are small community organisation CEOs, and others who have been CEOs of large state associations and have now retired. So it really just, for me, I have those mentors to really help me focus on my business goals and where I really want to go and the impact that I want to make on the people that I interact with.
So how did you get these mentors? I mean, it seems like they are from a wide variety of industries and kind of differing stages of their own careers and lives. How do you identify them? How do you reach out to them? And then how do you figure out if they're the right fit for you?
Yeah, I found my mentors in the very beginning. When I sort of started looking at finding a mentor, it was always around, oh, yep, you need one. So let's just go out and sort of have a coffee with someone that's a few levels above me and sort of see what they think I should know. And those always really failed because as a mentee, you're the one who's driving the relationship. So when I started a leadership program, that's when I started really learning about mentoring and what mentors could really provide. And that's when I met all the CEOs in my industry, in my local area. And they were all able to provide time for coffee. They would read documents for me, and they'd really also extend their own personal networks to help me get that next level up. So that's how I really started seeing the importance of mentoring and really started thinking about, okay, so these are the steps that I take usually when I approach a mentor. And this is what they're usually after, and these are the certain times in my calendar that I'm going to book in to reach out to these CEOs to keep them updated on my progress.
I loved what you said, so I want to repeat it. You said that as the mentee, you are the one driving the relationship.
Yes.
And I don't think enough people realize that, and they're waiting for their mentor to mentor them, and they don't
exactly.
Yeah.
And the mentor's waiting for the mentee to reach out, which means that there's this whole myriad of relationships out there that are just waiting to happen.
Oh my gosh, I love that so much. And I feel like so many people get that wrong. People are just waiting for someone else to tell them what to do in their life, to tell them what next step to take. And it's hard for someone to mentor you if you aren't giving them enough to work with.
Yes.
And if you aren't bringing a lot to the table. So what do you think most people, besides failing to reach out, are actually doing wrong in their mentor-mentee relationship?
Yeah. So doing wrong, gosh, there's so many things. It's failing to reach out, like we've already talked about, but there's also the failure to reflect. When people think about mentors, as we've already said, that people are usually thinking, that's what everyone says to do to move forward in your career. So I'm sort of just going to think about having a mentor and think about reaching out and not really plan around that. So what's really good to do is to really just internally look at yourself and see, what is it that you want advice on? Is it on your marriage? Is it on kids? Is it on your career path? And who in your life do you see and look up to in that area? Is it someone who is the CEO of Nike, or is it someone who is a teacher in your local community, or someone in your church that's doing amazing things? And can you take them out to coffee or reach out to them and start that conversation around how they do what they do and how they do it well?
And I think I would also add to that sometimes you can have, I call them my virtual mentors. They're people who they don't necessarily know they're mentoring me because they are, thought leaders and influencers, but I follow them on Instagram. I follow them on social media. I listen to their podcast. And when they do say something that I find especially interesting, I do reach out to them. And who knows one day whether they will become an official mentor. But because when you say things like the CEO of Nike, I think people sometimes get so intimidated by the size of people's personalities and how far away that person seems. And so there's ways to still be influenced by people's.
Exactly. And there's also lots of different types of mentor relationships. You can have those that are started in formal mentoring programs. So you're matched up with someone you don't really get a say. There's the ones that you start your own, which are quite organic. The ones that are from a distance, so the thought leaders, and you're learning from them sort of by osmosis in a sense. And then there's those that are just the flash mentoring that happens on a once-off sort of meeting, or maybe twice. And then after that, you can sort of continue to email them an update, but they maybe don't have the time or they can't invest in you at that point in time.
I love how kind you were about my unrequited mentor relationships.
But I have friends I actually know one person who sent a cold email out to the CEO of Nike and actually got a response. So it's all about just taking that leap. The answer is always going to be no if you never try.
I completely agree. And people are so much more responsive than you would think. One of my heroes in the happiness space is Gretchen Rubin. And I emailed her and she emailed me back herself. And I don't know why, but in my mind, I thought she would have like an assistant who like filtered her emails and that it would maybe get to her and I would probably get a form email. But I asked her a simple question and she gave me a response. And I hope to continue to build that relationship. She's somebody I follow on social media, somebody whose podcast I follow. And I share her content. So she knows I'm a true fan, so that one day when I want to ask her to be on the podcast, hopefully we'll be at a place where she may say yes.
I'm certain she will, especially, you're singing her praises. So why wouldn't she want to invest in you?
That's great. So I am also hopeful. Are there any really good resources that you have that you could share that would be helpful for young professionals who are looking to find kind of their first real mentor?
Yeah, certainly. The type of resources that I'd really be looking at telling you guys about is some of the resources that are out there are probably within your reach right now. Your organization might have a mentor program internally that you can jump on board with. So you can call up or email your HR team, and they might either have one or they might be linked to an affiliate or have someone on their books that they might be able to just put you into a mentor program like that. I have a checklist as well that I can send to you and that your listeners can also grab as well. And that'll take you through a step-by-step around how to really look at yourself and how to find these new relationships and how to ask someone out. So providing a template, I guess, around how to provide that initial induction into that mentor relationship. And then also how to make sure that that relationship is a value add to you. There's also heaps of books out there, which I'll also provide a list. There's one called Power Mentoring, which looks at how you as a person can be a mentee and also how mentors can be better mentors as well.
Fantastic. I'm going to include all of that in the show notes, and I really appreciate you sharing that checklist with my listeners. So before we wrap up, I would love to transition really quickly into your thoughts about leadership. I know this is something else that you really work on, is helping young professionals position themselves as leaders in their industry. How do you advise a young professional, especially somebody who's working in a more traditional industry like a law firm? How do they go about starting to position themselves to be seen as leaders in that industry?
Leadership really isn't that hard. It seems like such a scary term to so many people. But mentoring is all about standing your ground, knowing yourself, and cultivating, I guess, an aura or a circle of trust around you. And once you have that trust in yourself and you're able to extend that to your team, then you're actually becoming a leader. And from there you can start writing or doing podcasts like you, or reaching out to get amazing mentors. And the more that you talk and reach out, the more you position yourself as a leader. And in traditional industries, I mean, you can really feel that you don't want to rock the boat. For example, in Australia, I work heavily in the aged care space, and there can be a lot of negativity around being an aged care professional, or there can be a lot of stigma around rocking the boat in your workplace. So being able to say, this is what I believe in and this is why, and allowing people to see that you're speaking your truth can really empower those around you to believe in you. And the more you do that, the more people actually start seeing you as a leader, and the more you start believing in yourself. And it just is a ripple effect that continues to go on and on.
It's such good advice, because I think that the confidence gap and the ability to believe in yourself is something that holds so many people back unnecessarily. And a lot of people get stuck kind of in knowledge acquisition thought mode. Like they have the ideas and they know they could do it, and it's all just in their head.
Oh, I'm so guilty of that. I mean, when my mentor actually told me last year that I was a leader in my field, I really felt so uncomfortable. It was a huge shock for someone that I know to call me a leader. And it took me a good couple of weeks to really reflect on that and say, you know, even if I don't feel like it, I'm actually doing everything that positions me in that space. So it's about time that I started believing myself.
Completely. And I think, have you ever done Sally, I can't remember her name, the Fascinate quiz, How You Fascinate?
No, I haven't.
So it's a quiz that is supposed to tell you how you can influence other people. So it's not internal looking, it's external. So it's the things about you that resonate with other people the most. And I got ringleader, and I laughed. I was like, no, I'm not a leader. I'm an introvert. Introverts can't be leaders, And I think mostly because I think of my leadership style as not very masculine. I'm very much someone who leads from behind and who doesn't feel like I have to be the loudest person in the room. So I didn't see it as leadership. And it took me quite a while to really understand the things that I bring to the table that could be seen as leadership to other people.
Exactly. Leading is not set in stone. Leading is something that is different to everyone. And you may have an amazing team, and you might not see yourself as a leader or the alpha in that team, but being a leader is also supporting that alpha and cultivating and being involved in that culture of trust and supporting other people's achievements and promoting your own as well.
Yeah, for sure. And that's something that I don't know if you watch Simon Sinek's TED Talks and read his books, but he does a lot of leadership work. And one of the things he talks about is that just because you're in charge doesn't mean you're a leader.
Exactly. And especially in traditional fields like law or in the healthcare space, just because you're a manager definitely doesn't mean that you're a good leader.
Oh, exactly. One of the small things that he talks about that always resonated with me, that I try to do more and more when I work with a team, especially of people who are all junior to me, is never give my suggestion first. And that's something as small as, because often when there's a silence, when you ask the team a question and no one says anything, you want to get the conversation started. So you just throw out your idea. But that can be really discouraging to other people if their idea was very different from yours. And I had never thought about that. And I hadn't really put that into the context of my work, where often I would be sitting in a room with partners and other associates, and the partner would do that. And how I would feel as the associate, oh, well, I wasn't thinking that at all. So I'm not going to actually speak now. So little tips like that. And I think reading about leadership and seeing people's leadership styles can be really helpful to identify your own style. And
exactly.
yeah. So,
and not only identify your own style, but find others that you can role model.
Exactly.
It's like they say, like fake it till you make it sometimes.
Yeah.
And the more that you're in that space, the more you realize, oh, actually, I'm doing a pretty good job.
Exactly. So. And you definitely have your own strengths. And I think sometimes people want too much to emulate other people. And it's it's kind of like a balance, right? Like you have your strengths and you want to see what those are. And then you want to see other styles that could be naturally integrated into what you would do that you hadn't thought of. So it's always like a growing process.
Exactly. And I mean, and then once you are in that space, then you're going to continually be jumping out of it. So if you want to be good at anything in your career or as a leader or doing something different, you got to get used to being outside of your comfort zone. And that's a really hard space to live in. But at the same time, it's so empowering.
Can we talk about that a little bit more? Because that's something I definitely advocate for a lot on this show, is getting out of your comfort zone. And that's really, really hard for lawyers who love their comfort zone. I mean, everybody loves to be comfortable. But how do you explain or justify getting out of that? Like, why should people push to get out of their comfort zone, in your opinion?
Being outside of your comfort zone is where you grow and where you realize that there's more to know. And realizing that there's more to know creates so much fear, and you just have to really start cultivating that self-belief. For me, last year, so in 2016, I was lucky enough to apply for a leadership program with one of the top surfing champions in all of Australia. So her name's Lane Beachley, and she has won 7 world surfing championships globally and one of the top female surfers of all time. So being involved in her program and realizing that someone else believed in me made me continue to think that, oh gosh, I've got someone in my back pocket who is this awesome. I'm going to continue to jump out of my comfort zone and try something new.
That's so great. How fun. Do you surf though?
No surfing experience at all. It was just out of the blue, an application link just popped up on my Twitter feed, and I decided, I don't feel like I'm the right fit, but I'm just going to give this a go. And applied, and bam, got to go surfing with Lane in Sydney and meet all these amazing young leaders and young women as well who were doing amazing things, if not better things than I was doing, and just made me realize that no matter where I land, I'm always going to be safe. A failure isn't something that sets you back. A failure is something that keeps you going and something that you can continue to learn from.
That sounds like so much fun. I've gotten more comfortable with failure and more comfortable with being I don't know if that makes sense. I was going to say more comfortable with being out of my comfort zone.
Yep.
But I now know that when I start to feel afraid about pursuing an opportunity, it more than likely means it's the opportunity I'm supposed to be pursuing.
Exactly. I mean, I've had so many things where I've pushed myself outside of my comfort zone and they failed miserably. And being able to reflect and say, it's okay to be sad, and then give myself a day or two to just sit in that space and then kick myself up, wake up. What did I learn from that? Why did that not turn out the way that I had envisioned? And then just to continue to learn and step up and dream bigger.
What do you consider a terrible failure? Like, are you somebody who fails a little bit and thinks it's horrific, or if you
Oh, I'm an overachiever. It's so hard. Well, it just depends. When was it? In 2015, I was going to host an amazing event in Australia, and it was going to have over 400 attendees with the Prime Minister and the Governor General and all of these amazing leaders in the healthcare space coming along. And then it just ended up being at the wrong time. We had a flash federal election happen, so had to can the whole thing. Couldn't get any sponsors because everyone was focused on the election. And it just felt like I'd invested all this time and energy, and it felt like a massive personal loss. Mm-hmm. And then from there, I realized that, that's okay. I actually got a lot of really cool skills out of that. I got some really good templates to use, some good skills around event management, and the people that were in my team, were they actually a good fit? How can I bring people who are a better fit into my team to actually grow this into something bigger and better if that's something that I wanted to do in the future?
That's so great. I feel like once you have failure, it's not that you stop being upset when you fail, at least not for me. You just get better at learning from it and moving on. Like the turnaround is much faster for me now.
Yeah, that rebound definitely doesn't take as long.
Yeah, which is great because it's not fun. It's not a fun place.
No, like when I first started out in my business, every failure or not necessarily failure, every setback felt like a very long period of grief. And but as soon as I started getting more strength, more people started believing in me, and the more I put myself out there and reached outside of my comfort zone, the more I realized that, okay, if this doesn't work, I'm allowed to be upset for like an hour or a day, depending on how big that big project would be. And then if that works, that's amazing, and I can make sure I celebrate with other people. And if it doesn't work, then set myself a time frame to get over it, reflect, and then start achieving again.
That's wonderful advice. And I hope everybody is encouraged to go and do something really challenging today, even if you may fail.
And if you actually go somewhere and you actually achieve, make sure you celebrate. That's the one thing that a lot of us don't do and that's the one thing that I got from Lane on that leadership academy, was that if the only world championship that she can't remember out of all of the 7 that she got was the one that she didn't celebrate. So if you're going to do something, even if it's something small, make sure you celebrate by getting yourself a chocolate, talking about it with a friend, and just sitting in that space of awesomeness.
Absolutely. I think that there's so much that's lost in the experience if you, for better or for worse, don't reflect, right? So if you fail, learn from it. But if you succeed, congratulate yourself and share it with the world. Like, you're awesome.
Exactly.
I think it's so hard for people to celebrate themselves. I think especially high achievers, women high achievers, have such high standards for themselves that when they succeed, it's almost like that's what they expected. So now on to the next task. But you deserve that chocolate or more, whatever is gonna. I have these little tiny, I'm showing you with my hands, but you can't see me, little Prosecco bottles.
Oh, yes.
And I put my goals on them, and I have them in my fridge.
Oh, I like that.
So whenever I reach I have a goal for each quarter, and whenever I reach one of those goals, then I know I have a little bottle of champagne that's already ready. I don't have to go out and get it, So,
that is excellent, actually. I like that.
Yeah, so I definitely am trying to get more in the spirit of celebrating myself, because I know definitely previously I would have said, oh, we'll do something, and then a week, a month would pass, and it felt like too late to celebrate. So having the celebration ready in a bottle helps.
I love it.
Well, what is the best way for people to learn more about what you do and follow your work?
So you can subscribe to my newsletter at samanthabowen.com.au, or you can follow me on Twitter at Samantha_K_B.
Fantastic. And I will include links to that as well in the show notes. So I want to thank you so much for being a part of this project and sharing all that you know with my audience. The last question I have for you today is, what do you think sets apart those people who find happiness from those whom happiness continues to feel out of reach?
I think that happiness is in all the little things around you. Seeing my dog napping on the couch, hearing the leaves rustling in the trees, or having friends over to share challenges or achievements. Or maybe it's just something even really tiny, is not having my favorite pen being stolen by my husband during the week. Just holding that space to express that gratitude every day. I mean, I have a gratitude list. So every morning and every evening, I write something that I'm grateful for, and being able to express that on a page and then weekly to a friend or to my husband really helps me see how much happiness and how much gratitude I have around me instead of focusing on anything negative. It's all about the gratitude.
I think that that's great. The reality is that a little plus a little plus a little equals a lot. And that goes for work, and that goes for gratitude. It's just the little things, and they add up to a really, really big, grateful life.
Yes. And writing it down and putting it up pen to paper really, really helps cement that whole kinesthetic movement, putting thoughts through muscles to the page is really something that makes my heart sing. And I really advocate for other people to do that.
Yes, I agree. And I actually haven't been doing it this year, and I need to get back to it because I can already feel the difference in my own mind, because I thought I had it down and could drop that from my routine, but I need to bring it back. So thank you again for coming on, and I wish you the very best with everything that you're up to this year.
Thank you. I look forward to hearing more of your podcasts, and thank you very much for having me on.
Thank you for joining me for the Happy Lawyer Project podcast. Please head over to my website, www.thehappylawyerproject.com, for more information from today's show. While you're there, I'd love it if you'd leave me your thoughts on the show. You can also connect with me on LinkedIn, Facebook, or follow me on Instagram. If you've enjoyed the show, please share it with your friends. And don't forget to head over to iTunes to subscribe and review the show. As you know, each rating helps more listeners find the show and helps me get awesome guests on here for you guys. If there's anyone you'd like me to have on the show, or if you'd like to be on the show, head over to my website and let me know, or send me an email at Okoma, OKEOMA, @thehappylawyerproject.com. A special thanks to everyone who's left a review, sent me an email, or reached out to me in any way. I appreciate you. Thank you again for spending this time with me, and if you would like to learn more about working in your gift and living your passion, head over to the website for a free gift. Until next time, bye!